Good morning, good morning, good morning, my friends. How are you today? My name is Debbie. Welcome to my channel. We are back with day 60. I forgot. What day of Phil Spector? 63. We are on day 63 of Phil Spector. And we are on detective forgot his name. Still don't know his name. Detective Richard Tomlin. This is part 2 of his testimony. We are right at redirect. And after redirect, we have another person named Angela Pileggi Silverstein. And then we have Sarah Kaplan, who I've been waiting for. We heard her outside the presence of the jury, so we pretty much know what she's going to say, but she does not want to testify. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to her today, so we'll get to her tomorrow. What we have lined up for today is about a little over an hour, so we should be able to do it. They're always late, starting with Karen Reed. But even if we go in over a little bit, that's fine. We won't miss any of the Karen Reed trial. And let's see what Judy has for us this morning. I love reading Judy's trivia every morning. I read this as Dennis Rodman at first, and I was like, what? What does Dennis Rodman have to do with Phil Spector? Dennis Riordan, appellate attorney, took Spector's conviction case to U.S. Supreme Court, which declined to hear the case. Phil, no! Come on. Come on. Phil, no, ma'am. She just pooped in the floor. Phil, come on. Phil. Right here, Phil. I don't know who did that over there. Well, there's a wet one right there. I tried to get her to go outside. She didn't. No, she didn't say a word to me either. And I have witnesses. Unfortunately. Before I was so rudely interrupted. This is why I can't have company. My house stinks. She's old. She's old. Poor baby. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Dennis Riordan, appellate attorney, took Spector's conviction case to U.S. Supreme Court, which declined to hear the case. He cited Deputy DA Alan Jackson's final argument, in which he accused defense attorneys of soliciting untruthful testimony from expert witnesses by paying them huge fees. He called that egregious misconduct. The appeal quoted Jackson as telling jurors, "How does homicide become a suicide? Just write a big fat check. Just go out and buy yourself a scientist." He's been fighting corruption his whole entire career, looks like. Good morning, Judy, Jill. Who else is here? Yeah, at least she wasn't in front of a doggy cam. I just saw her out of the corner of my eye. I try not to. I mean, she has kitty disease, so I try not to yell at her when it's pee because she can't help it. But that was poop, and I was like, "Oh no, you're not! No! Oh no, you're not! That's not acceptable. And I'm right here. Like, throw me a bark and I'll go open the door, Yuck. Ugh. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm so embarrassed now. Okay.
I thought I did something wrong.
No. It happened behind you.
Okay. Well, actually, I didn't. You would have told me. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Tomlin. Good morning. I want to cover a few of the areas that Mr. Jackson covered with you. Mr. Jackson asked you whether or not your reports are intended to be a verbatim reporting of the conversations with the witnesses. You remember that question?
Yes.
And your answer to it was no, correct?
Correct.
It's supposed to be accurate, correct?
Yes.
It's supposed to be as complete as it can be, correct?
Complete as far as what I determined at that time to be pertinent to the investigation.
Okay, it's going to be truthful, that's for sure, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it's certainly going to embody and contain the important points of an investigation. That's a given, isn't it?
Hopefully, yes, that is the intent.
Okay. When you conducted interviews with the individuals we spoke to, these interviews took place within the last couple of years, starting sometime after February 3rd of 2003, correct?
Correct.
And therefore, prior to February 3rd of 2003, you had conducted many, probably thousands of interviews with various potential witnesses,
Yes.
written thousands of reports, correct?
Yes.
And you've always tried to be accurate, correct?
Correct.
And you've always tried to be truthful, correct?
Correct.
So when you started to conduct your investigation, in this case, you brought all that experience and those disciplines to the table with you, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. So let me understand something correctly. We talked about, I believe it was 4 interviews yesterday, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. We spoke about, let's see if we can go through these. We spoke about Miss Melvin, right?
Yes.
We spoke about Miss Jennings, correct?
Yes.
We spoke about Miss Davis, is that right?
Yes.
And we spoke about Miss Holkeen, correct?
Yes.
This was an important case, a big case, correct?
All murder cases to me are very important. Yes.
Exactly. And you've investigated many of them, correct?
Yes.
And in this particular case, the defendant, Mr. Spector, was different than any defendants you've had before because of the fact that he was somebody that was known, correct?
Yes.
So in terms of your investigation, you wanted to make sure that you crossed every T and you dotted every I, isn't that right?
As in every case I try to, yes.
And in particular in this case, correct?
This is,
No different than any other case, right?
obviously it is different, but at the same time, as far as my investigation, it's going to be the same.
Okay. So you were as careful in this case in terms of reporting what witnesses told you as in any other case you've investigated. That's a fair statement, yes?
I attempted to be, yes.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, in working for the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, you had certain technical facilities available to you, such as cameras, such as recording devices, such as tape recorders, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, in this particular case, you did tape record some witnesses, correct?
Correct.
For example, did you tape record Miss Jennings? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you tape record Miss Holkeen? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But you didn't tape record Miss Melvin, did you?
No, I did not.
And you didn't tape record Miss Davis, did you?
No, I did not.
And as I understand it, Miss Davis was interviewed by you. You were interested in talking to Miss Davis because she was with Mr. Spector that night, correct?
Correct.
So in your eyes, strike that. As you go through an investigation, you make a determination as a Los Angeles County Deputy Sheriff Homicide Investigator that some witnesses may be more important than others. It's just a checklist, right?
Yes,
Miss Davis was fairly high up on the list, and she had been with Mr. Spector that evening, correct?
she was a person definitely wanted to interview.
Yeah, I didn't ask you that. What I asked you was, is she was a person that was high on the list because in your mind, she would have been with Mr. Spector that evening, and you wanted to talk to her about that, correct?
I'm going to object at this point. It's getting leading
Overruled.
beyond the foundation.
I'll allow it.
Yes, she was an important witness.
Okay. And if you wanted to capture that interview so that at a later time like today here in court for this jury, you could have tape recorded her, couldn't you?
Yes, I could have.
And we would have had a transcript just like we did for Miss Jennings and for Miss Holkeen, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't tape record her, did you?
No, I did not.
So we don't have the tape and we don't have the transcript, correct?
Correct.
And the same for Miss Melvin, correct?
Correct.
And if we had had the tape recording, we would have had exactitude and certainty, wouldn't we?
I'm going to object. That's argumentative. It just assumes.
Sustained.
Well, let me ask it a different way. If we had had a tape recording of those two witnesses, we would have been able to turn to the pages of the transcript and see exactly what was said by them and you at the time of the interview.
Objection, counsel's argument.
It is, that's argumentative. It's appropriate for argument.
Tape recording potential witnesses in any case, let alone a murder case, is an excellent law enforcement technique, isn't it?
It's a tool.
It's an excellent tool, isn't it?
In certain circumstances, yes.
You must have felt that way when you interviewed Miss Jennings and Mr. Holkeen, correct? Miss Holkeen, correct? Because you tape recorded them.
At this point, it's irrelevant what this witness thought about the idea of tape recording or not. It is what it is.
The objection's overruled.
No, because there are various reasons why you do tape record and don't tape record individuals.
Let me ask you something. Certainty, truthfulness, and exactitude is a linchpin of any good criminal investigation. You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
We don't have the exact words of Dorothy Melvin when you interviewed her. All we have is your summarization in the report, correct?
Correct.
We don't have the exact certain words of Ms. Davis when you interviewed her, correct?
Not the entire part. When preparing my reports, I will occasionally put the exact quote of the person in the report.
But we don't have each and every word, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay. For example, if a witness told you that someone had pointed a gun at them, that would be an important point, wouldn't it? In a homicide investigation, correct?
If you're asking that specific question, yes.
That's a specific question I'm asking. If someone were drunk and that was an issue in the case, that would be an important point, wouldn't it?
Their observations, yes.
Okay. And if someone told you that they had a vivid memory of being with an individual hours before a homicide occurred in your mind, and they told you that they had in fact received a tip of $100 for a couple minutes of service of a drink, that would be an important point that you would want to know about, correct?
The tip for $100 has very little relevance to me, so no, not necessarily that would be important enough to put in a report.
But it would be important to you if the person told you along with the tip that she had a vivid memory of that, correct? That would be important, right? What her memory was like that evening.
Yes.
Let's turn to another subject. Mr. Jackson asked you about the technique of interviewing witnesses together, correct?
Yes.
And you said that this is a bad technique. It's a bad technique because one witness can interfere with or influence another witness, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You've been you've been an investigator with LASO for 20 some odd years, correct?
I've been on the department 21 years.
20 years. Okay, 2 decades. That's a long time, right?
Yes.
Is it your testimony before this jury that never in 20 years, during any of your investigations, when you interviewed witnesses, that you have never interviewed 2 witnesses at the same time?
No.
Okay. Is it your testimony that if 2 witnesses are interviewed at the same time, that automatically means that they're both going to lie? That's not your testimony, is it?
No.
In fact, would you not agree that sometimes it can be actually very helpful and productive because one can jog another's memory and lead to additional information that might turn out to be important in the course of your investigation, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is leading, he's testifying at this point.
It's a leading, you can ask, go into the subject area, rephrase the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you agree that it could be helpful and productive sometimes for people to be interviewed together?
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay. It's important to interview all relevant witnesses in an investigation, isn't it?
It's important to try to, yes.
Well, I understand. Sometimes you can't. I'm not saying in those situations where you can't because, for example, if somebody doesn't want to meet with you or if somebody's unavailable or out of the country. I'm saying given it as a given that the person is available, if that person is a relevant witness, it's important to interview them in the course of the investigation. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jackson also asked you about whether or not it is improper to have drinks with someone when you're interviewing. You shouldn't be drinking alcohol. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there some rule for investigators that that's not allowed? There isn't, is there?
Well, I believe in the sheriff's department there is.
Okay. Exactly. For the sheriff's department, there is. You were working for the sheriff's department in this investigation, weren't you?
Yes.
You know who Tawny Tyndall is, correct? Our
Yes, I do.
defense investigator, and she's not with us today. She
Yes, I
didn't
do.
work for the sheriff's department during the course of this investigation, did she?
No.
So she's not bound by any restrictions that may have been written by people in the sheriff's department as to how to conduct interviews, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with the statement that there's more than one way, to borrow, I think, Mr. Jackson's phrase, to skin a cat, correct?
Yes.
There's different ways to interview people, correct?
Yes.
And you have to use different techniques when you meet people for the first time and want information from them, correct?
Yes.
Sometimes you have to be very forceful and strong, correct?
Yes.
And sometimes you have to be very soft and kind, correct?
Yes.
And you run the gamut between those 2 extremes when you interview individuals, and a lot of it is based on a gut feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
And oftentimes interviews are conducted in settings other than in rooms in law enforcement buildings, correct?
Correct.
You've conducted interviews in all kinds of places, haven't you?
Yes.
Including restaurants, right?
Yes.
Including bars, right?
Yes.
And you've been around situations where others may be drinking in the course of an interview, correct?
Not the person that I'm interviewing.
So let me ask you this. If you go out to meet with somebody in an interview, let's just say it's at a restaurant or a bar where they sell alcoholic beverages, and the person is already there and that individual, this potential witness, is seated at a table and has a drink. And you come up and sit down and say you want to talk to them. Do I understand your testimony that you instruct them, stop drinking, I can't talk to you?
I've never had that.
Go ahead.
I've never had that situation, but if that situation did occur, I would try to reschedule the interview.
Okay. And of course, you can't tell, you've interviewed tens of thousands of witnesses, correct, in your career?
Yes, a lot of people, yes.
Can you sit there and tell us that in each and every one of those instances, you know for sure that when you interviewed any of those witnesses, some of them had not consumed alcohol or maybe had consumed controlled substances before they met with you and you just didn't know?
That's correct.
And sometimes, wouldn't it be safe to say also that sometimes when you can, it's very important to establish a rapport with the witness so they trust you, correct?
It's probably the most important thing.
Why is it the most important thing?
Because you want a person to relax and to be able to feel free and comfortable enough to tell you what you're seeking your answers.
To open up to you.
Absolutely.
The more the potential witness opens up, the more information you glean from the conversation, correct?
Correct.
The more information you get from the conversation, the better your investigation can be and the more complete it can be, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes when you start an interview with somebody who you've never met before in your entire life, and you know that there is a body of information that you want to attempt to extract from that individual, you may say and do things to get that information out, correct?
Yes.
In fact, isn't it true, Detective Tomlin, that you have even sat across from a potential witness in the course of your career, about to start an interview, and you've been untruthful to them? You have been disingenuous to them because you believe that it may, in fact, get information that will help you, correct?
Correct.
You've even tape recorded people surreptitiously without them even knowing it, correct?
Yes.
Those are all techniques, some techniques, that you as an investigator need to use to extract information from people, correct?
Correct.
And whether you feel good about it personally or not, sometimes you've even had to lie to potential witnesses to get them to open up, correct?
Yes.
But you feel that if Ms. Tyndall were to sit down and have a soft drink or an alcoholic beverage with the witness, that this would be improper for her, not a member of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, in conducting her investigations. Is that correct?
Well, a soft drink, there's no problem. Alcohol, yes, I believe that is improper.
Okay. And that's worse than lying to somebody or tape recording them and not telling them, correct?
Yes, because you do not know if the person is consuming alcohol, you don't know if they're in the right state of mind, if they will remember facts clearly. Maybe they won't be completely forthcoming.
And in the course of, I'm sorry.
So, yes, I believe lying to a person to elicit some information when they are in a sound state of mind is different from a person consuming alcohol.
Okay. You would agree, wouldn't you, that there are some people who can consume alcohol and it has no effect on them whatsoever? Correct?
Objection, this calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Yeah, the court's indulgence.
Certainly. Thank you. We cross.
You said there's a lot of techniques that folks use during the course of interviews, and Mr. Rosen asked you about lying to a witness. Every agency in the country uses a ruse to interview suspects, correct?
Objection, it calls for speculation.
Yes, he wouldn't know about every agency.
Are you aware of other agencies, including the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, that utilize as an agency policy the use of something called a ruse when you're interviewing suspects?
Yes.
Now, normally when you go out and interview a witness, just a witness trying to glean information from the witness, do you employ a ruse?
Usually no.
Did you employ any ruses for witnesses in this case?
Absolutely not.
And a ruse might be when you're interviewing a suspect and you've got a certain amount of information that the suspect's good for the crime. Let's say it's a burglary and knocked over a 7-Eleven or something, and there's a getaway car. You might interview the suspect and you've got technicians out there that are lifting prints off the steering wheel of the car, and you might tell the suspect, hey buddy, we got your prints. We got your prints. What do you got to say about that? To see what their reaction is, even though you have yet to run the prints, correct?
Correct.
All right, that would be an example of the ruse, right?
Yes.
I mean, when you're talking about, when Mr. Rosen asks you about lying to a witness, you're not talking about walking up and saying, hey, my name's Alan Jackson, I'm a deputy district attorney, or I'm Judge Fiddler sitting on the Superior Court, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. We're not talking about that, are we?
No.
You just don't wholesale lie to witnesses, do you?
Yes.
Interpose an objection.
Yes.
Slow down a little bit. Objection.
Objection to that. All right.
The objection he's too fast is sustained.
There you go. All right.
Is there more?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
Is it true that I could let that go? I don't even know where I was. All right. So in other words, when Mr. Rosen asked you about lying to witnesses, you're not talking about literally going out and just wholesale lying to folks just to get your jollies, correct?
Correct.
That is an investigative technique that's actually taught at the academy, a ruse for suspects, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you might also tape record individuals surreptitiously, correct?
Yes.
And you know that that's a law enforcement technique that's sanctioned not only by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but by the Superior Court bench and by the California legislature, which makes it legal for you to surreptitiously tape, correct?
Correct.
For any of the other of us who are not in law enforcement, it's illegal to surreptitiously tape.
Yes.
Isn't that right? But you utilize that tool as well.
Yes.
And Mr. Rosen asked you if it was proper to sometimes employ separate techniques or different techniques when interviewing a witness. He said sometimes you have to be forceful and strong, and sometimes you have to be soft and kind, correct?
Yes.
Is it ever a proper technique to maybe, I don't know, go out and find a witness and do a line of coke with the witness to get him to open up a little bit?
Overruled.
Absolutely not.
Never done that? How about smoke a little pot? Get a bong out, smoke a little weed to get him to open up a little bit?
Objection, excuse me, nothing in this case.
Overruled. He's making a point.
No.
And how about taking a drink? Going out to a bar? What the heck? We're going to hang out for a little while. You order a rum and coke, and I'll order a whatever it is that I'm going to order. Sit around and get drunk with the guy or get tipsy with the department. Has a policy in place that you don't drink and you don't interview people while they're drinking is because that would affect the integrity of the investigation, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't matter if you wear a sheriff's badge or if you're a defense investigator, if you're male or female. Ultimately, if you're investigating the circumstances of a case and you're trying to get to the truth of the matter, the last thing you want to do is interview a witness with whom you're imbibing alcoholic beverages, correct?
Correct.
Because that can affect memories, it can affect truthfulness, it can affect veracity, and ultimately the integrity of the entire investigation. Can it not?
Absolutely.
And you don't do that, and you indicated to Mr. Rosen that you've never done that, correct?
Correct.
And you will never do that, I'm assuming from your answers during the rest of your career, correct?
Correct.
Thanks, that's all.
Thank you. Redirect.
Mr. Jackson just asked you about whether or not you usually employ a ruse, and I think your answer was that you usually don't employ a ruse when you're interviewing suspects, and he gave you an example of like a burglary case, correct?
No. I believe he stated usually do not conduct a ruse when I'm interviewing a witness.
Okay, that's exactly right, and that's the point I want to get to. When you interview a suspect, it's very different than when you're interviewing a witness, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you have a suspect, you're going to use different techniques, and you're going to interview that individual, male or female, in a different way than you interview a witness, or at that point, a potential witness, because you don't even know, right?
Not necessarily.
All right. So you're saying that you may employ some techniques that are similar, but you would agree that you employ some that are different, right?
To a suspect, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Do you know Miss Tyndall? You don't, do you?
No.
Never met her, have you?
Never met her.
You ever sat down and talked with her about your investigative techniques and hers, like two colleagues in the same business? You haven't, have you?
No.
Do you have any information whatsoever that from the time that Ms. Tyndall came on board and started working for Mr. Spector and the defense team as our investigator, that she smoked dope with anybody? You don't, do you?
No.
And you don't have any information that she smoked dope with any witness in this case, do you?
No.
And do you have any information, since Ms. Tyndall started working for the defense team in this case, that she sat down and did a line of cocaine with anybody? You don't, do you?
No.
And do you have any information that Ms. Tyndall, in the course of interviewing potential witnesses in this case, drank so much alcohol that she became
Dude, he was making a point. It wasn't literal. The judge even said he was just making a point. Geez, I don't like this attorney.
tipsy during the course of her interviews?
No.
In fact, you've seen her reports, haven't you?
Yes.
You've read her reports, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you see anything in any of the reports authored by Ms. Tyndall that suggests that she had either smoked dope, done a line of cocaine, or was drunk when they were written, or the interviews took place?
No.
In this state, it's legal to drink if you're over 21, correct?
Yes.
There's nothing illegal about having discussions with individuals after you've had a drink, even if it's an interview of a potential witness, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes. All right.
My colleagues have asked me to inquire in one little quick area. Hopefully it'll be one question. Mr. Tomlin, did you ever interview Jennifer Hayes?
No, I did not.
You saw her here yesterday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to yesterday, you'd never spoken to her about this case, is that right?
Correct.
How about your partner, Detective Fournier? Did Paul Fournier ever speak to her before she came in and testified yesterday?
No.
Thank you, nothing further.
Thank you. Recross.
You did review a report by Ms. Tyndall, authored by Ms. Tyndall, where she indicated that she interviewed Pumpkin Pie at a bar and that they ordered drinks and Pumpkin Pie was tipsy.
Yes.
That? Thanks.
Redirect.
Nothing.
All right, subject to recall. Thank you for being here. You may step down.
Thank you.
Do you have another witness?
I do, but in light of our conversation, I'm going to need a couple of minutes with her, just so I...
Okay, fine. All right,
Seriously. I thought we talked about this yesterday. Didn't we talk about this yesterday? We had a long conversation about this yesterday, didn't we, Shadow? Didn't we have a long conversation about the buttons that you're not allowed to push? Hey, Terry.
Can you spell that for us, please?
P-I-L-E.
The whole name.
The whole thing?
The whole name.
A-N-G-E-L-A, P-I-L-E-G-G-I, S-I-L-V-E-R-S-T-E-I-N.
Thank you. You may proceed.
May I just call you Ms. Leggy, because that's how I
Yes.
know you?
Yes.
I can't remember the other name. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Pileggi, and thank you so much for being with us today and joining us. You've come a long way, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And where have you come from?
From Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask you a question. Do you know and have a relationship with a lady named Melissa Grosvenor?
Yes, I do.
And what is your relationship with Melissa Grosvenor?
She's my sister.
Okay. Was she a Pileggi at one time and now
Yes.
Grosvenor?
Pardon, yes.
Okay. Let me just kind of instruct you on something, if I may. It's okay. You haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
It's a little different here in the courtroom. We have rules that we need to sort of follow. It's very important, and I'm going to steal from Mr. Jackson his words, that I not step on your words and you not step on my words. In other words, when I'm talking, let me completely finish my question, and when you're answering, I will let you completely finish your answer, because otherwise it becomes very, very difficult for Cindy to get that down. We call it a reporter's nightmare. Okay?
Okay,
Now, okay, Melissa is your sister, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, and Grosvenor is her married name,
Yes,
so she is your full sister.
yes.
Could you pull the microphone up close to you? Just use it like a telephone, bring it closer up.
Closer?
Yeah, don't be afraid of it.
Are we afraid?
No,
Okay.
do not be afraid, as they would say. Okay. I want to turn your attention, if I may, to the year of 2005. At that time, did you find yourself in the state of Georgia?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have ties to Georgia?
yes.
What are those?
I was born and raised in Georgia.
Okay. And was Melissa also born and raised in Georgia?
Yes,
Do you have another sister named Kathy?
yes.
Okay, and her name is spelled Cathi, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And was Kathy also raised in the Georgia area?
Yes.
Okay, and where were you raised? In what part of Georgia?
Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. Augusta, Georgia is a pretty famous place during 1 week of every year, isn't that true?
Yes, it is.
And why don't you turn to the jury and explain to them why it becomes famous 1 week out of the year for those of us that don't chase little white balls around golf courses.
Augusta is the home of the Masters Golf Tournament, and they play it in April every year. So.
And is that kind of a big to-do, a big deal down there?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Why don't you tell us what goes on in Augusta during that week when they have that tournament?
Everyone that is in golf comes, and I mean, lots of people that love golf. I mean, it's the place to be. It's the golf tournament of the year. It's Masters in Augusta, Georgia. So
And do
parties and everything.
parties and everything?
Parties and, you know, everyone having a great time, going out to eat, everything. Yeah.
And do a lot of people come from not only the United States, but all over the world who are interested in golf to this tournament?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to approximately 2005, okay? And I think you said this occurs usually in the month of April?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in Augusta at that time?
Oh, yes.
Were you there during the festivities for the Masters Golf Tournament?
Oh, yes, I was.
Okay. Were any of your sisters there with you also?
Yes.
In particular, was Melissa there with you?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Did Melissa and you attend several parties?
Yes, we did.
Did you attend a particular party at a judge's house?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us, if you would, for a moment, how you and Melissa got to that party.
Friends of Melissa's had come into town and they had invited us to several parties. And one night and the following night, and both were at two different judges' homes.
Okay. Do people rent out their homes during the golf tournament? Is that a common thing that happens?
Oh, yes, lots of people do.
Okay. Was that the situation here as far as you knew?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about this, just the second party that you went to at the judge's home. Did you, Melissa, attend that party?
Yes, we did.
And were you all dressed up?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Were there other people there?
Oh, lots of people. Mm-hmm.
Did there come a time after you and Melissa arrived at the judge's home for this party where you and she did something?
We walked around the home.
Okay. Well, why'd you walk around the home?
It was a beautiful home.
And you wanted to see it?
Yes, wanted to see it. Mm-hmm.
Was it I'll use the term, was it a palatial home?
Yes. It's
Big?
big, yes.
And was it decorated nicely?
Oh, it was beautifully decorated.
Okay.
Definitely.
And in terms of walking around, was it for the purpose of just seeing the decorations in the home itself?
Yes.
Did something happen when let me finish. Did something happen when you and Melissa took this walk around the house to see how it was decorated?
Yes.
I want you to tell the jury what happened.
My sister picked up a plaque that was sitting on a desk, and she put it in her purse.
And
Yes.
where was this desk and this plaque?
It was in what appeared to be an office.
And do you remember what that office looked like generally?
It was beautiful. It had one chair that had antlers that actually made up what the cushion of the chair was sitting on. It was beautiful.
You say she picked up a plaque and put it in her purse. Where was that when she picked it up?
It was sitting on the desk.
Can you describe the plaque?
Yes, it was about this big, and it said,
Wait, I have to describe it. Indicate, Your Honor, about 5-6 inches high, maybe 7, 8, 9 inches wide. Okay. But, I mean,
That's approximate, sure.
okay. All right, just slow down. It was,
Okay.
so that was the size of it, correct?
correct.
All right. And tell us what it looked like, please.
It was white with black lettering.
Did you see the black lettering?
Yes.
And what did the black lettering say?
Attitude is everything.
And what did you see Melissa do with that plaque?
She put it in her purse.
Did it belong to her?
No.
Whom did it belong to, if you know?
I'm assuming the people that live there.
Did you and she then leave the office?
Yes.
Did she have the plaque in her purse?
Yes.
Did eventually the two of you leave the park?
After a couple of hours, we did.
Okay. Did you know her to return the plaque?
No.
After you left the party, where'd you go?
Our sister Becky's home.
Okay. That's another sister?
Yes.
Okay. And did she live in the Augusta area?
Yes, she does.
Okay. And when you got to Becky's home after the party, did you see the plaque again?
Yes.
Would you tell the jury what happened and what you saw?
When we got back to my sister Becky's home, and of course, Melissa said where we had gone to, what home we had been. And Becky, my sister, looks at Melissa and said, "So what did you steal?" And Melissa pulls the plaque out of her purse and proudly displays it to my sister Becky, our sister Becky.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to another time. Do you recall being here in Los Angeles around May 1st of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And you came out here to be interviewed by Ms. Tyndall, and I actually met you that time. Is that
Yes,
right?
you did.
We met for the very first time, right?
Yes.
And I spent a little time chatting with you. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
During the time that you were here, oh, and by the way, in May of this year, were you here by yourself, or was there some other family member that was here also with you?
My sister Kathy also came.
Okay. And were you and Kathy staying at the same hotel?
Yes.
And was that a hotel in downtown here, Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Tyndall, did you get an opportunity to meet her face to face?
Yes.
You had spoken to her on the phone previously, but had not met her, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you knew that Ms. Tyndall was the lead defense investigator for the defense team in this case, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did something happen in the presence of Ms. Tyndall, your sister Kathy, and yourself while at the room at the hotel?
Yes.
Okay. And did it involve your sister Melissa?
Yes, it did.
Did it involve a phone call?
Yes, it did.
Would you share with us, please, what happened?
A phone call to my sister Melissa, and it's, well, I had called her, and beginning of the conversation, she said, "Why did I tell them about the embezzlement? And why did I tell that she had stolen the plaque from the judge's home? They never would have known," is what she said. She was scolding me.
Okay. And how were you able to hear that?
It was on speakerphone on Tawny's phone. Tawny was present, so was my sister Kathy,
When those words were spoken?
when those words were spoken.
Okay.
Yes.
It was late at night, and I was driving.
Yard. I don't want to watch a commercial. Sorry, guys. StreamYard. Killing me. Can you guys hear it? StreamYard hates me. Hang on.
She possibly being a witness in this case.
Oh, yes.
And just tell the jury what she said.
She was bragging about going to be on court TV and being on the Phil Spector trial.
Okay. And was that a conversation, Ms. Pileggi, face to face, or was that a conversation that took place over the telephone?
Over the telephone.
Okay. And you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember.
I just have one last question that I want to ask you, a couple last questions I want to ask you. Today, you and your sister are not friendly, is that correct?
Sister
Melissa?
Melissa, right,
Okay, there's been a split in your relationship, correct?
yes.
Okay. Just one final last question. I want you to turn your attention to Mr. Spector, who's seated at a council table. Have you ever met this man?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Has he ever given you so much as a nickel for coming here to testify?
No,
And do you expect or anticipate that Mr. Spector is going to give you anything of any kind of remuneration for you coming here to testify today?
no,
You've been subpoenaed to be here, is that correct?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Pileggi, you don't like your sister very much, do you?
Which sister would that be?
That would be Melissa.
Okay. We don't get along.
Yeah. You don't like her very much. That's kind of part and parcel of not getting along, correct?
Not really. I love her. But
I didn't
we
ask
don't
if you
get
love her.
along.
Right.
Well, you said I don't like her, but that's not true. I love her. We don't get along.
Okay. You can love someone and not necessarily like them and want to spend time with them, correct?
I suppose.
Okay. And beyond just supposing, I'm asking you straight out, you don't like her as a person very much. I mean,
We don't get along.
okay. Now, you were aware of Melissa being interviewed by the authorities in this case all the way back in 2004.
Yes,
Okay. And you were aware, according to you, that Melissa was probably going to be involved in the Spector case somehow or another all the way back to October of 2004 when she was interviewed by the authorities, correct?
right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you were interviewed by, I think, Ms. Tyndall, and you indicated in 2006 during that interview that it was about a year and a half ago that you became aware of Melissa's involvement in this case, correct?
I was not interviewed by Mrs. Tyndall in 2006.
You're right. It was a guy named Gailey.
Gateway.
Is that correct? An investigator named Gailey?
Dale Kelly.
There you go, Dale Kelly. There's several
Yes.
investigators in this case, so thanks for helping me out with that.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was Mr. Dale Kelly and another investigator that was actually from Georgia, correct?
Who was from Georgia?
The second investigator that was there with Mr. Kelly.
I don't know where he came from. I know where he was when he interviewed me.
Well,
It was in South Carolina.
Did he have an accent?
Do you have an
Did he
accent?
sound like he's from the South?
Not to me, but I'm from the South, so everyone sounds the same.
All right, so his accent didn't stick out in your mind.
Not in my mind.
There were two people that came and interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
And during the course of that interview with Mr. Kelly, you indicated that you had been aware for
From the South, I can tell when somebody else is from the South. I could tell she was from the South the minute she opened her mouth. What? That is ridiculous. What is her problem?
about, at that time, a year and a half, about Melissa's involvement, correct?
Right.
All right. And it was your impression, as a matter of fact, that Melissa was not being honest.
I knew for a fact she was not being honest.
Okay. You thought she was a liar.
I knew she was lying.
All right. And based on the fact that you knew she was lying, you obviously told the defense investigator when you were finally interviewed by the defense, correct?
I answered the questions that they asked me.
Right. And
Right, correctly. Honestly.
And you indicated that you believed that, in fact, Melissa was not telling the truth, that she was making it up, that she was just a liar, correct?
Yes.
All right. Between October of 2004, and by the way, you knew Mr. Spector, you just smiled very broadly at him when you saw him, correct?
Absolutely. He's
Yes.
a wonderful man. I adore him.
You have some affection for him, correct?
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, to use your words, you adore him.
I do.
Absolutely.
I do.
You did then, and you still did.
Yes, I do.
Okay. You knew that he was facing murder charges back in October of 2004, did you not?
Yes.
Okay. As a matter of fact, you knew that somebody had been killed in his house and that he had been arrested and that he had been indicted and he was facing the charge of murder here in California. You knew all that back in October 2004.
Right.
And you also knew that your sister at that time, in October 2004, was involved in the case and might potentially be a witness in the case, talking about a prior incident, correct?
Right.
You knew all that. Let me ask you this, Ms. Pileggi. It's Pileggi with a hard G. Yes?
Yes.
I need an
yes.
answer.
I said yes.
Okay. At what point did you call the DA's office to let them know that your sister was lying?
Objection, argument.
Overruled.
I never called the DA's office.
At what point did you call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to let them know that during the course of this murder that they had a liar on their hands, Miss Melissa Grosvenor? When did you call the Sheriff's Department and let them know that?
I never called the sheriff's office.
Well, maybe you didn't realize that it was a sheriff's case. Maybe you called the LAPD. When did you call them?
I'm an objector. Overruled.
I never called them. I never called
You never called who?
anyone that you're asking me.
You never called
The LA.
anyone in a position of
You're
authority.
talking over each other, folks.
I apologize.
All right, ask your question.
You never called anyone in a position of authority, the DA's office, the sheriff's department, a police agency, to let them know my sister's lying, did you?
No.
Yeah. You didn't call in October of 2004, I'm assuming?
No, I didn't call.
That was the month I was asking you about. You didn't call in November of 2004,
No.
December,
No.
all the way through the end of 2004, you never called?
No.
How about 2005? Did you call anybody in any month during the 12 months of 2005 to let the authorities know my sister is lying, she's a liar?
No, I didn't.
Going into 2006, January of 2006, you didn't make any phone calls, did you?
No.
February of 2006, you didn't make any phone calls to anybody in a position of authority, correct?
Right.
But you knew Mr. Spector this whole time, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and you adored him back then.
Right.
You felt like he may be being wrongly accused, correct? And your sister may be part of it. Is that right?
Right.
Excuse me, I'm going to check that. That's a compound question the way it's phrased.
Break it down into two parts. This
I
thing.
apologize. You felt like you knew at that point, as a matter of fact, dating all the way back to October of 2004, that your sister was involved in a case in which Mr. Spector was being charged with murder, and you know him and you adore him, correct?
Right.
All right. In February of 2006, you actually did reach out and try to contact Mr. Spector, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. And in February of 2006, you didn't call him, Ms. Pileggi, to tell him, hey, look, my sister's involved in this case and she's not being honest. You called Mr. Spector to ask for concert tickets and a backstage pass for you and your boyfriend, Butch Jones, to a Rolling Stones concert. Isn't that correct?
No, but you're close. That's not correct.
You reached out and asked him for concert tickets, did you not?
No, I did not.
What did you call him for?
For backstage passes. The concert tickets I had already had.
I see. So you asked him for backstage passes. Did I get the concert right, Miss Pileggi? Was it the Stones?
You had the concert right.
Did I get the boyfriend right? Was it Butch Jones?
Yes.
All right.
You're good.
Well, I'm trying. All right.
It's an insult to him.
You actually, Ms. Pileggi, you actually called Mr. Spector, knowing that he was charged with murder, knowing at that time that your sister was involved in the case, and you called him not to tell him that your sister was a liar. You called to ask him for a favor, correct?
Well, first of all,
That's a yes or no question.
Excuse me, Your Honor, he's spending off the witness to get your answer.
Well, it may or may not be a yes or no question, so you can go ahead and answer.
Mr. Spector knows that she's lying, that it never happened, so I don't think I had to tell him that.
Actually, Ms. Pileggi, you don't know what Mr. Spector knows.
First of all, don't.
He keeps over talking.
Just wait 1 minute. Mr. Rosen, watch your tone of voice.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, you are over talking. We need to let everybody get their answer in. If there's an objection, object. But we're not going to have this cacophony of sound, and we're not going to make it impossible for the reporter and the jurors.
Very well, Your
All
Honor.
right, start again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You knew that Mr. Spector was being charged with crime.
Right,
You knew that your sister was involved, correct?
right.
Yet when you called him for backstage passes. You didn't call him to let him know that anything was amiss in his trial, correct?
First of all, I did not know Melissa was definitely going to be up on the witness stand.
I see.
And Mr. Spector, since he and Melissa were friends also, he knew that what she was saying was not true. So I did not have to
Objection, that calls for
tell.
speculation.
Well, this
The
is-
witness doesn't know what Mr. Spector knows.
Excuse me. This is her state of mind as to why she didn't ask certain questions or say certain things. So
Very well.
you may answer.
So why would I have to tell him something that he already knew was not true?
I see. So since you assumed that they were friends, you assumed that he knew everything that was going on in Melissa's life and what her potential testimony was going to be. Why tell him that my sister's lying about her testimony or potential testimony, correct? That's your testimony.
Well, because Mr. Spector knows that it was not true. So why would I have to tell him something that he already knew?
I see. And you had a conversation with him about this, correct?
No, I did not.
Yeah. All right. And in February of 2006.
If you will. Thank you.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
All right. In February of 2006, when you, just to kind of bring us back to the foundation that we're talking about, when you contacted Mr. Spector, it was not to talk about the case in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It was not to talk about Melissa, correct?
Correct.
You called him for some backstage passes, correct?
Correct.
So you were asking Mr. Spector for a favor at that time.
Well, since I met Keith Richards when I was with Mr. Spector for a Hall of Fame party, I knew he knew Keith, so I was going to ask him, but I never spoke to him on the phone.
You knew that Mr. Spector was powerful in the industry.
I knew he knew Keith Richards because that's how I met Keith Richards, was with Mr. Spector.
Ms. Pileggi, you knew that Mr. Spector was powerful in the music industry, correct?
Yes, I know what, yes.
You knew that he was a wealthy man,
Yes, yes,
and you were calling to ask for a favor, correct?
from a friend.
How many other favors have you asked from Mr. Spector since then?
None.
Now, something else was happening in February of 2006, aside from the Rolling Stones concert, correct? You were actually, your ex-husband, I think Louis Silverstein, yes?
Yes,
Your ex-husband had filed a petition for contempt regarding the custody of your children, Samuel and Bernard, the twins.
right.
That petition for contempt was basically to get full custody of the kids and to take away your visitation rights. Is that right?
I'm going to interpose an objection to this line of question.
If it's, depends, are you going to tie this into Melissa Grove?
Absolutely.
All right, the objection's overruled.
And so I don't have to interrupt you. I have a running objection to this area.
You may.
Thank you. On foundational grounds and on relevancy grounds and materiality grounds.
All right,
Thank you.
you may proceed.
Thank you. You were undergoing a very heated custody battle with Louis Silverstein concerning the custody of your children. Is that right?
Right.
You and Louis Silverstein did not see eye to eye on how to raise the kids. You two had been separated and he was seeking full custody and you were fighting him on that, correct?
Well, objection is a compound question.
I think we could break it down, but is that true?
Yes.
All right.
And isn't it true, Ms. Pileggi, that shortly thereafter, Melissa, specifically Ms. Grosvenor, took the side of Louis Silverstein in that custody battle, did not take your side. Isn't that right?
Yes.
That angered you to no end, as it would any sister, correct?
It upset me.
You-
Absolutely.
It absolutely upset, maybe another word for anger, correct?
Did it upset me? Yes, it did.
It upset you greatly. I mean, we're talking about your twins, your boys.
Yes.
And she took his side, not your side.
Yes.
And blood is thicker than water in normal circumstances. She should have taken your side, shouldn't she?
Well, objection. That form of that question calls.
Asking her if that's what she believes.
In your mind.
Sure.
She told you, Melissa specifically told you that she was concerned for the welfare of Samuel and Bernard, and she could not take your side because she was concerned about your prior drug use and drug habits.
Your Honor.
Is that correct?
I'm going to object. It's asked to come to the bench.
Come to the bench. This following testimony concerning possible drug usage is limited solely to the purpose of showing a basis for the rift between the sisters and how it might have affected future events or events that took place after that time, and solely for that purpose only. You may proceed.
Thank you. Did Melissa indicate to you that she was concerned for the welfare of the children, Samuel and Bernard, based on your history of drug use?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
No.
Isn't it true that within weeks of this chasm, this rift between yourself and Melissa, that's when you first went to the defense and were interviewed, as a matter of fact, in April of 2006. And that was the first time that you ever spoke to the defense investigators about this case.
First of all, I didn't go to the defense. They came to me.
And in April of 2006, that was the first time that you ever indicated that Melissa was being untruthful, the information about the plaque, things of that nature, correct?
Correct.
You indicated that you believed that, I believe this was a question by Mr. Rosen specifically, that Ms. Grosvenor's motive in this case was, one of the motives was that she was bragging about wanting to be on court TV. She just wants to be on TV, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware that Ms. Grosvenor never contacted the authorities in this case? Indeed, the authorities found her through a third person that said, you might want to talk to this lady. Were you aware of that?
No.
Were you aware that Ms. Grosvenor spent money on a lawyer or a set of lawyers and filed with this court specific moving papers requesting, begging the court that she not be on TV?
Overruled.
That she not be televised on TV. And it was this court's determination that she would in fact be on TV. Were you aware of that?
No, not, especially not since the conversation I had with her.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Redirect.
Yes, please, Your Honor. Ms. Pileggi, as I understand it, you spoke to our investigators, when was it, in 2005 about?
Yes.
Okay, well before 2006, when you
It
called.
was, pardon me, it was in 2000, was it 2006 somewhere?
Okay. Was that well before you called Mr. Spector?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, was.
well before you called him.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you something. Did you speak with him?
No, I never spoke to Philip. I still have not spoken to Philip.
Okay. Did you speak with Philip when you were out here in May?
No, I didn't.
Have you spoken with him today since you've been here at the courthouse?
I smiled at him, but I still haven't really said hello.
Let me ask you something. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Dixon was just sitting there minding his own business. Poor Mr. Dixon, he just can't win sometimes.
So stipulated.
Okay, let's start over. Mr. Jackson was asking you some question about some concert tickets. You recall that?
Yes,
Okay, let's just take it slow. Some concert tickets and some backstage passes, correct?
correct,
And you mentioned a name, Keith Richards, correct?
correct.
All right, I know this is probably going to be the stupidest question to ask in this entire trial, but would you tell us who Keith Richards was or is?
He's a member of the Rolling Stones,
A rock band, correct?
a rock band, right?
All right. And I think you indicated that you knew that Mr. Spector knew Keith Richards, correct?
Right.
Through Mr. Spector's musical accomplishments, correct?
Well, because I had met Keith Richards when I was a guest of Phillips at a Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction
Okay.
at the Waldorf.
All right.
At this point, Mr. Rosen, we're going to break. I'm going to order you back at 1:30, ma'am. There may be another witness who we will take out of order, and then you'll testify after that, but I'll order you back for 1:30. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind the admonition, 1:30 this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. That's a good place to break. Even though we were going to finish her, but hang on, let me write the transcript down. Okay, that's a good place to break. That way we won't get too behind. Although sometimes it's nice to be behind. Sometimes it's nice to be behind because then you can zoom through sidebars and stuff. But hey, madam, we're about to portal over to Karen Reed. So, thank you. I know, so stipulated. Judge Fiddler is so funny. I wish all judges would be like him. Just be chill. Like, if you like your job, just be chill and be happy. And, this is your job. This is what you chose to do. Don't be like all sad and sober and, like, have some fun with it. It's your job. You chose to do this. Don't make everybody miserable. Like, just because you're a judge doesn't mean you have to be like all grumpy and stoic and, you know? I like Judge Fiddler. I wish all judges were like that. It's been like the laughs in his courtroom have been really really good. Except sometimes Rosen tries to joke and it just falls flat cuz Rosen is just weird. He's just really weird. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is an expression, isn't it? But I like Fiddler. He's cool. Okay. So, thank you for coming out. If you aren't going to portal with us to Karen Reed, I will see you again in the morning for more Phil Spector. If not, I will see you in a few minutes for Karen Reed. Bye. Have a nice day, guys. I will see you over there.